Welcome to the module on the knowledge and technology structure. In this particular discussions, we have the theoretical background on international political economy. International political economy is basically a combination of economic growth of the nations, international trade, and also the flows of foreign capital. When we discuss about economic growth, it mainly refers to the GDP per capita of the nations. In this economic growth, also we bring about the population factor and how they are basically mixed up to actually describe the welfare of any country. In this context, also we bring out the concept of international trade. This belongs to the openness of an economy when the country is willing to exchange goods and services with the rest of the world. And in this particular trade, we are basically wants to ensure how the trade can be an engine of growth. And all these are linked up with the political dynamics of a nation or a country. Moreover, in the context of international trade, also we refer to the concept of foreign direct investment. Because along with the openness of any nation, the country basically invites foreign capital, and this foreign capital can be instrumental to the growth process in terms of technology or in terms of skill formation or any delivery of managerial expertise. So the international political economy is a combination of these three terms, namely economic growth, trade, and investment. Moreover, when we go by the other dynamics of international political economy, also we refer to the economic institutions and the organizations which are in place. This basically refers to the regional groupings across the world, where we have the European Union, we have the UNCTAD, that is United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, we have the SAARC economies, that is South Asian Regional Cooperation, also you have the ASEAN and also NAFTA, which is taken up by United States, Mexico and Canada groupings. So these particular groupings are basically fostering harmonious relationship, solidarity among the nations, and also they are helpful in instrumenting any kind of trade relations. Moreover, any kind of research expertise also is shared by these economies. So any such regional grouping also has an export orientation with more free trade zones and also special economic zones to come up. And all these are linked up to look after a good political and harmonious relationship among the grouping nations. When we call the international organizations, we mainly refer to the IMF, that is International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank, and along with World Trade Organization. All these are also operating on a political stability of the nation and also bringing out economic and financial benefits to the member nations. Secondly, we come to international financial system. So international financial system mainly refers to the Bretton Woods system, which has come up with the name of IMF, International Monetary Fund, which also goes for the special drawing rights for the member nations to take loans at concessional rates. These are also linked up with the political economic dynamic of any nation. Then we have the market system. So when we refer to the market system, it basically refers to the capitalist or the socialist or a mixed economic structure. So under a capitalist structure, it is the MNCs which basically take up a pivotal role in channelizing the goals and the functions of these organizations. When we refer to the socialist sector, it is a government which takes up the commanding heights and look after the welfare of the nation. Otherwise, there is a coexistence of private and the public economies. Moreover, we have the dimensions of globalization very much effective within the dynamics of international political economy. These dimensions refer to cultural, whereby we take account of the cultural mix and the ethnicity, and also the mix of taste and preferences, including the language, also crossing the language barriers or the linguistics. Then we have the economic globalization, where we talk about the trade, the foreign inflows, the exchange rate, and moreover the forex reserves. We have the financial globalization, where also we talk about the role of the financial institutions, which are instrumental in channelizing the funds. And finally, we have the governance, that is the socio-political globalization, where the rules of governance are stated like voice, accountability, political stability, law and order, and the judiciary system. So all this in all describes the functioning of an international political economy and how it is linked up with the technological structure. go by the concept of technological structure, the very first term that comes in is the concept of knowledge. So this knowledge is basically the creation of the capital in terms of the human resources, research and development, and also in terms of the skill formation. So by knowledge we mean that the economic institutions need to have highly specialized people. So when we look at the specialization of the people, we mean how the skills can be transmitted to the individuals who are capable enough to explore and exploit the opportunities that are available. Moreover, in different economic areas. So here different economic areas means the economic areas of education, the poverty, the wealth, and also in the overall holistic development. That lead to human creativity, productivity. So when we talk about human creativity, we talk about the innovations. And today innovations play a pivotal role in explaining the knowledge creation. Moreover, productivity comes up in terms of the cost reduction strategies or less number of man hours required to do the same job, and eventually drives to the power of economic growth. So whenever we talk about how economic growth can be instrumental in the creation of the power, or in case of the superpowers, the most important thing that comes in is the creativity, the innovations, and also the productivity that is being created. So the knowledge-based economy, that is what the global economy wants to achieve, is basically the something that is called knowledge codification, where knowledge can be of different categories which can be codified. So that is how a knowledge-based economy wants to operate with the globalization forces. This goes back to the dynamics of the knowledge creation and what can be the different codifications that the knowledge economy will depend on. Firstly, we have the know what. That means when we are analyzing on the term what, it means knowledge about facts. And this is a factual knowledge based on the actual existence of the operations of the dynamics of a nation, which can be economical, political, socio-economic, and many other criteria may crop in. When we look at why, it refers to the reasons or the explanation of the rationale behind the facts that are displayed. So any kind of fact should have a rationale, should have a storyline, and should have a justification. And for that, the term why is used under the purview of the knowledge structure. When we want to say the word how, then having skills and being able to do something. This is very important because the skill creation is important, and the skill acquisition also is important to understand how the knowledge can be implemented at the grassroots level. This is because the knowledge needs to be disseminated to the nation or to the citizens of the country. Otherwise, knowledge creation will have no use. And so who knows what and who knows what to do? This is one of the very pertinent questions in a dynamic world because people have to understand the functions, what they're supposed to do, and how they can do. So all these codifications, which are actually mentioned in the knowledge structure, contribute to the positive implications of economic growth. So whenever we are talking about economic growth in terms of the positive factors and how economic growth can be instrumental for the overall functioning, then all these codifications are important. Like the facts and factuals must be actually verified with the logic or the rationale, and then we should have the skills to understand the functioning, able to do something, and moreover we should also understand what to do and who knows how to do. That means we have to assign the people, which is an allocation problem in an international matrix of a political economy. Moreover, knowing the market. So this is important because market functions are different and the market functions under the forces of demand and supply. So knowing the market is very important to understand the knowledge codifications. Then we have the business operations and the function of different economic sectors. Because you have agricultural, we have secondary sector, manufacturing, you have tertiary sector, services. So each of these sector has its respective production function and thereby the function according to the codifications given. We have the business operations, which is very much in tune with the global standards or the global demand, and the labor, stocks and flows. So whenever we talk about the labor market, we have to understand the demographic structure of the labor market, whether we have more younger population or we have a synergy of mid-wage as well as the unskilled and the high-skilled workers. This also goes back to the concept of the stock and flow concept. Because when we discuss about the stock concept, we refer at a point of time how much wealth creation takes place, because that is crucial for explaining the creation of knowledge and how it can contribute to the international political systems. And also the flow of knowledge, that means over time we want to analyze the process of knowledge creation. And this creation will be inevitable towards the development of the nation and also for the political transformation. This basically refers to some of the important documents which are cited to support the concept of knowledge. So whenever we are considering the major document of the global political economy in the knowledge age, it is said that more than 50% of the GDP is based on the production of knowledge. That means whatever be the structure of the GDP, the knowledge creation is important. Moreover, we want to check that there are no borders, because knowledge should be disseminated to any part of the world without any cost. So no borders should come up and no language barriers should come up in order to make the knowledge available and also to understand the meaning. Moreover, the mobility bias to education, the need for specialization. This is very important in the context of international trade and in the dynamics of political economy, that in order to understand the knowledge, specialized skills must be actually offered or must be actually instilled among the minds of the Indians or any other citizens of the country. So that is how the knowledge creation takes place. When we contribute to the rise in the per capita income, thereby we look at how this knowledge is implemented or it is actually leading to a meaningful research in the creation of the knowledge. So by the word meaningful research, we mean how it contributes to the society and it contributes to the development of the country. Firstly, in terms of rise in the real per capita income. That means job creation and also rise in the livelihood strategies. The knowledge creation is important. Secondly, the expansion of the cities, because today the majority of the economies are driven by the urbanization principle. So the need for more urbanization is basically driven by the knowledge creation. Establishment of the research centers, where more and more knowledge in a multiplier effect will come up, and thereby the research expertise in terms of research and development activities should take up a pivotal role. Agricultural productivity, that also should come up in a bigger shape, and more innovative managerial work. This refers to the innovations that must be created, because innovations are basically looking into the technological drive-ins. Because any kind of forces which drive the technology are basically being implemented to the innovations. That is one of the basic impetus or the foundation stone in the creation of knowledge. Moreover, we also look after some kind of insights from the academicians in the context of knowledge creation and how the knowledge can be transmitted to the common man, how it can contribute to the betterment of the economic welfare of a country and also contribute to the political transformation. Firstly, we quote for Paul Krugman, who said, "Productivity is not everything, but in the long run it is almost everything." That means the statement starts with an issue that the productivity is essential for the health of the economy, because productivity basically is the stimulating factor or may act as a catalyst for increasing the real income, obviously interest rates, profits, and also will be able to take care of or check or monitor the macroeconomic indicators like inflation, price, and everything. So that means productivity model is very much important in the context of Krugman dynamics. Moreover, when we talk about United States, it says that whenever we talk about a rise in productivity, United States has come up as one of the advanced nations. It is building the entire model on the basis of algorithms based on artificial intelligence and the big data analytics, and that is how the United States is moving up. So that is basically coming up as a second part of the essay, as in the Paul Krugman theory, as it said, about the role of technology in bringing the productivity model in place. Next, we come to the states and the markets by the Susan Strange. The knowledge structure is the most advanced and the most underrated structure that exists in the international political economy. That means in the context of the advanced knowledge, there are some kind of algorithms that work whereby the knowledge creation is basically duplicated, and moreover in some of the instances it has a negative impact because it creates the scope for exclusion, and thereby the knowledge creation creates some kind of an ambience where the creation is repetitive. This also boils down to the concept of the role of technology in the context of knowledge creation, because technology and knowledge creation are interlinked with each other. So in terms of the role of technology, firstly we go by the job enlargement, that is expansion in the job creation, particularly in the high-end services which depends on information technology or it depends on the technological structure. So this is with the advent of any kind of machine goods sector, particularly in the terms of machine learning process, whereby the IT makes it easier to synergize with different systems which creates jobs and also widens the service and the products. So in the dynamic political economy, whenever there is a discussion of any kind of e-governance portal or any kind of functioning of the political dynamics, the most important intervention is the enrichment in the IT sector and how IT forces can stimulate with this growth momentum. Secondly, we have the growth of GDP. Because with the growth of GDP, there will be expansion in the size of the market, which will attract the investors, and also people will start advertising and the selling goods. So this expansion in the size of the market will be more crucial in discussing about the growth dynamics, employment creation, and moreover the knowledge creation. The rise of the new services also is one of the most important facets of today's dynamic world, which refers to launching of the services like the online services, mobile banking, and also the internet, which is already in place in terms of the broadband connectivities. So all these are instrumental in making technological structure and the knowledge creation to be interlinked and instrumental for building up an international political economic model. Moreover, we can see that whenever we want to access to any kind of consumers across the globe, then also technology in terms of market share or in terms of access becomes an easier option. Moreover, in terms of reliability, transparency, efficiency, this is also a very effective exercise. Internet has also come up with a crucial role in explaining the competition. The prices have become more transparent and the markets have broadened. So this broadening of markets is basically inviting more and more players, thereby creation of new goods, or in the telecommunication sector, more electronic gadgets, which make the entire globe to be having more information data, and the overloading of information also takes place. Moreover, technology facilitates economic growth and also improves the nation well-being. So whenever we talk about the economic growth which is driven by the technology, mainly in the foreign players which play an important role. This boils down to the discussion that how technology and knowledge creation are interlinked with each other. Because that is how the dynamics of any economy or of any structure, whether economic, political, or any other structure, performs. Firstly, the standardizations of ICT environments. That means the ICT environment referred to information and communication technology environment that should have some kind of international standards, some cyber security rules and regulations, some compliances within which the global economy will operate. So any such compliance must not be separated for each other because the entire globe is united and integrated in a common network which is done by the global value chain and also driven by technological chain. Secondly, removing the barriers for development. So any kind of barriers which can be an economic barrier in terms of tariff, in the trade margin, or barrier in terms of immigration, or barrier in terms of any kind of regulations that is imposed. So all these things must be withdrawn so that there can be free flow of goods and services and information. Developing strategic responses to job migration to low-wage countries. This is basically coming up that in some of the economies we have the wage disparity, a common feature across the developing and the developed nations. So this basically gives rise to job migration, which can be encouraged, and thereby the people can get the advantage of high wage or low wage across different parts of the globe, creating solutions for consumers' confidence and security. This is very much apt in a technology world whereby information has no transaction cost, but there is a cost of security. So when we talk about security, we refer to intellectual property rights, which must be very strong enough. We talk about the patents, and also we talk about building the credibility in the world market. This also refers to some kind of platforms which needs to be created. These platforms refer to the portals whereby the content producers will come up and thereby upload the information, and the information will transmit it to any corner of the world. Modernization of spectrum policies. The spectrum policies refer to the canvas of the world whereby the digital infrastructure, algorithms, and the apps that should come up in effect. Technological innovations are mainly capital intensive, which will look after the better functioning of the model and the economy at large. And finally, the most important word that comes in the linkage is dissemination of knowledge. So how can the knowledge be meaningful, and how can it be comprehensive for every member of the nation? So knowledge has to be taken up from the top level, but it has to be disseminated to the grassroots level so that everybody get benefited from the creation and the expansion of the knowledge circuit. This refers to the interaction between the technology and the politics. So whenever we talk about the political issues, then we look at the micro donations of time and effort. Because any kind of political activism also takes care of the technological intervention, like in terms of sharing the political information, endorsing by any kind of political platforms, or in the social media platforms which are being used up in most of the cases. And thereby in these platforms, the most important acceptance is also being done by any statement, and which can also capture the pulse of that particular community or that particular region. This also gives rise to some kind of participation in terms of the chain reactions, and how these chain reactions can come up with a collective action that will go for university campaigns or any other campaigns done on the digital platform. And these campaigns have no such transaction cost. So this refers to the concept of the digital nudging. So when we come to the concept of the digital nudging, it is basically a very much cost-effective way to incentivize individuals. Because individuals needs to be motivated, encouraged, so that they can participate in the network, in the chains, they can think and act in different ways, and also they can comply with the social norms and also accept different standards of behavior. This is basically comes under the behavioral pattern of the individuals at different points of time. So the perceptions will differ. Secondly, it is also important tool to spur people to engage civically. That means pay the bills on time or save money to the retirement. So that means any kind of retirement, post-retirement benefits that also requires to be saved the money, and that is the requirement at every age. This type of awareness also can be done through this kind of digital nudging. So it is one of the most powerful tool to how to motivate the people, create awareness, and also make the people motivated and channelized and mobilized in the creation of knowledge. And also in the recent years, you have seen that the charitable donations have been on the rise, and also the people are given more incentive towards to save something for their retirement. So that means this is also comes under a kind of social security, which comes under the notion of international political systems. Moreover, a growing number of organizations in all these countries are requiring these employees to opt out rather than opt in. That means this is basically coming under the voluntary retirement scheme or any other scheme whereby the post-retirement access or the avenues are channelized. So in this particular module, we are basically looking after the theoretical background of the international political economic dynamics, which looks after trade, growth, and foreign investment. We look at the concept of the knowledge creation in terms of the codifications, like how, what, and for whom it is being done. Evidences were quoted from the different academicians like the Krugman and the Strange. Role of technology also comes in, which is in terms of different sectors, different markets, and how it can be instrumental for the creation of economic development. The most importantly, the technology and the diffusion with the knowledge, and also importantly, how technology and politics can be interlinked with each other in terms of making a very effective and a successful political campaign. And finally, the digital nudging, which is incentivizing the members of the nation to participate in this chain and make this a good affair. And that is how technology and the knowledge structure can act in a cohesive manner and make the economy to channelize in the long run to a higher growth trajectory.